Welcome to Table for One. I'm the narrator, and in today's video, I'll be playing a solo game of Anachrony. In this video, I'll be playing against Chronossus, and otherwise just using the most basic setup possible. Let's get rolling. So I am set up to play Anachrony. I'm using just the base game, but I'm playing against the Chronossus today. So this is my second video on this channel playing Anachrony solo. The first time I played against the Chronobot, so I'm trying to mostly do an apples to apples comparison between the Chronobot and the Chronossus, and I find the spoiler, Chronossus is much better, and that's without factoring in that it supports the expansion content, which I've been playing a lot of. So I've been playing a lot of Fractures of Time lately, and I'm curious to see how I handle not being able to use that blink mechanism today. I've kind of rewired my brain to do that. But the other thing I want to mention before I get going is that the previous video where I played against Chronobot and got absolutely crushed. I use the symmetrical A side of the player boards, but that is not what I'm doing today. I'm using the B side of the Path of Progress. So I just wanted to point out how this is a little bit different than the symmetrical sides. So I'll try and go relatively quickly because this is kind of basic stuff. But these three spots, when you power them up, you can choose to use one resource, either gold, uranium, or titanium, instead of power core. You have the option to use either. Then on the morale track here, these spaces are worth more victory points on the right side. There were 3, 5, and 7, but the cost is higher. They cost 7, 8, and 8 water to use them. And then if you whoever you use, or usually if you use an administrator to do this waking up action here, they come back motivated, but there is no such bonus here. Whoever you use for this action comes back tired. And then the building costs have some differences. The first power plant here costs an additional gold, and the last life support costs an additional uranium. Whenever you retrieve a scientist from a power plant, a factory, or a lab, they're returned motivated. The first 3 spaces on the time travel track are worth 1, 2, and 4 VP instead of 2, 4, 6 like normal. And then lastly, you need 4 paradoxes to create an anomaly instead of 3. And then for my leader, I've chosen Patron Valerian, and their ability is during the actions phase, you can use a scientist as a genius. That is both for placement purposes and retrieval purposes. So that's super cool. And then I have the A side of this board. And so for the evacuate action, I need to have 3 labs, and I gain 6 victory points for that. And then I gain 4 victory points for every breakthrough tile and 2 scientists that I have. So 1 breakthrough tile and 2 scientists. That grouping is 4 victory points each. And speaking of that action, let's flip this back over to the right side to start the game. And finally, I've got all my starting resources here, except I also start with 1 breakthrough. So looking at the first 2 super projects that are available, I've got Cloning Vat and the Ultimate Plan. Ultimate Plan I'm not that keen on. It's just all your super projects are worth 3 additional victory points at the end, including this one. It doesn't really do anything else. It's pretty passive, but Cloning Vat's pretty nice. So that allows you to take any worker type and place them here, and then you gain 1 of that worker type to your tired column. And so that would be a great way for me to get more scientists. Yeah, this combination here is something that I've really grown to love, so that's what I'm using today. So let's start with that breakthrough. So for Cloning Vat, you need 2 squares. So I'm just going to set this to square. I'm going to roll this one. Oh, I got a question mark. And I don't think it really matters to me, so I want it randomized. All right, microchip. So I get square microchip. All right, so I start with that breakthrough here. And then as a fun aside, just a quick note here, I am playing this within 24 hours of doing a little time traveling myself, because here in the US, we just switched the clocks back, which I can't believe we still do. It's so dumb. That was a decent way to save lamp oil, but we don't really use that anymore. It's just kind of funny to think that our clocks have any bearing on the running of the rest of the universe. But you know who takes that notion very seriously is the Chronossus. So that is this board over here. It's similar to the Chronobot. We've got 4 different command tokens, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and each one has its own track, which is a little bit difficult to maybe see on camera, but the 2 goes around this track here, the 3 loops around this top track, the 4 goes around here, and the 5 is on this shorter track here. And then 3 of these spaces, this one, and this one, are modular tiles. And that's a really nice feature. So I've just got the default setup, but those tiles can be swapped out or adjusted to either change the difficulty or to add in expansion content. So other than that, for setup, I've already got the mine set up. I've got the recruit pool here set up. The Chronossus goes first, just like the Chronobot did, and therefore I start with 1 additional water. And then Chronossus has another key difference from the Chronobot, and that's that there's a bag drawing mechanism for energy cores. So there's 2 tokens here. There's these spent energy cores and then the regular energy cores. And unfortunately, the spent ones only come in cardboard because I've got the acrylic upgrades for the regular energy cords, but I need to be able, they can't be distinguishable by feel because there's a bag draw mechanism. So there's these spent ones, and then there's regular ones. And so I take 5 of each at the beginning of the game and I throw them into a bag. So I got a bag here. There we go. And we shuffle them up. And then every round we're going to draw 3 of these. And pre-impact, every round, the Chronossus is going to start with 3 powered up exosuits plus however many energy cores that I draw out of the bag that are energized. So a maximum of 6. And then after I draw, I look at how many spent energy cores or empty energy cores that I pull out. 1 goes back in the bag, and then all other tokens that I've removed from the bag are just removed from the game. And then after the impact, every round, the Chronossus starts with 2 charged exosuits, and then you still draw 3 from the bag, and it has a maximum of 4 charged exosuits at that point. So I think those are kind of the main points. I think I'd like to start in the first era now. Oh, and one more thing before I get going. There are these solo goals up here. So the way that these work is the Chronossus does not interact with them at all, but at the end of the game, each one of these has 3 tiers, and you get the victory points listed if you've achieved everything for that tier. And they're not additive. It's not cumulative. So this one on the right is however many breakthroughs I have. If I have 3 breakthroughs at least by the end of the game, then I get 1 victory point. If I have at least 6, I get 2, and if I have at least 9, I instead get 4 victory points. So that's this card. This one is how much water I have left at the game, either 8, 12, or 18 water. And then this last one is just how many successful time travels I've had, either 5, 7, or 8. So it's just marking the space, on this track, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. So I think the breakthroughs in particular, I'm looking to do a lot of those because it synergizes with my evacuation action here. And I do need a couple more markers here. The Chronossus gets a time travel marker, and I also get a time travel marker and a morale marker. Hopefully going to be interacting with those. Okay. That feels like enough introduction. So let's get going on the first era. The preparation phase is already done, and there is no paradox phase in the first era of the base game. So now we go to the power-up phase, and the Chronobot is the first player, so they're going to power up first. So we know they're going to start with at least 3 exosuits, and then I'm going to draw 3 more out of this bag. So we've got a spent energy core. Oh, a second spent one, and 1 charged one. So we take 1 spent one, put it back in the bag. The other 2 go away. They'll never get the spent ones back again, but the Chronossus could get more regular energy cores back. So they're going to charge up a 4th exosuit, and then 1 of these goes away for the future draws. So I will be using minis for myself, but for your visibility, I'll be using the tiles for Chronossus. And Chronossus does not interact with water at all, so we don't have to worry about that. So now I'm going to charge up, and I'm going to charge up at least 3, because that would be free. And yeah, maybe I'll spend 1 energy core to charge up a 4th. I've got 2 left over, so I gain 2 water. Okay. And now it's the warp phase, and I always like to make my decision first as if we were revealing at the same time. The rulebook says that the warp phase happens in player order, but I just take that as the order that they're placed in, which is not relevant for the standard timeline, but if you use the alternate timeline side, then there are different bonuses or penalties on that side, so I think that's what it's used for. And I think I want 1 warp tile. I would like an engineer, And so I'm going to have to pay 1 water because time travel is kind of exhausting. But now I have an awake engineer, and now we're going to roll the paradox die for the Chronossus. 1. So I just get 1 warp tile there. It doesn't do anything, but it stays on the timeline. When I say it doesn't do anything, I mean they don't gain any bonuses. They just they'll have to roll for paradoxes later. And now it's time for the action phase. And since Chronossus is first, Chronossus is going to roll. So we're going to use this glitch die again. If you're not familiar with it, there's a 2 and a 5, and then 2 3s and 2 4s. So the 3s and 4s have twice the likelihood of coming up as a 2 or a 5. We've got a 4. So we're going to perform this action right here, which is to build a factory. So first, the Chronossus is going to send an exosuit to this build spot, and then build one of these 2 factories. And they want to take whichever one has more victory point value. They're both worth 1, and so then they prioritize the one in the secondary stack. So that's this one here. And all they're going to do with that is get a victory point at the end of the game. And now that we've fulfilled that action, we advance that token along its unique track. And now I get to go. And I'm going to use this engineer to go build as well. So I'm going to go to this space. It's going to cost me 1 water. Now I can build for a 1 titanium discount since I sent an engineer. And so I'm going to build a factory as well. So that's going to cost me 1 titanium and 1 gold. And so I'll build the only one that's face up, but this is the one I really wanted. So I'm going to grab this, place it in that spot, and then I can send an engineer there and spend 3 water to get 2 energy cores. Because without fractures of time, I don't really remember how to get energy cores other than to trade for them with the nomads or to recruit more engineers. And I don't really want to recruit engineers. I'd rather recruit scientists, which in retrospect, I probably should have gotten a scientist instead of an engineer because they're used as geniuses. So I could have done it exactly the same. That was sort of a silly move. And I can even use scientists there. You know what? I'm going to retcon that. You can't stop me. Because it doesn't actually change anything, but it's just a better move. I won't do that all game, I promise. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. And yes, the 1 titanium discount still applies with my scientists being geniuses. So there you go. All right, back to Chronossus. Let's take another turn. And that looks like a 2 to me. Yes, that's a 2. So Chronossus wants to build again. Now they want to build a power plant. So they're going to go to this World Council spot. So I'm not going to be first player. They're going to take that spot. And this one is worth 3 victory points, and this one is worth 1. So they're taking this one. And now we advance that marker to this spot here. And so now I'm going to recruit. And I could use a scientist as a genius, but that's just going to tire them out. I'd rather tire out this administrator. So they're going to come here to recruit, and I will recruit another scientist. And that gets me 2 water. Man, I can't tell you how much I wish I could blink. So Chronossus is going again. That's a 3. So that's going to be their 3rd build action in a row, building a life support. So they're going to have to come to this other World Council space because I did leave it open. And this is worth 2 and 3, so they'll take the one that's worth 3 and advance that command token. And back to me. And so I'm going to go to the mines. I'm going to send a scientist, again, using them as a genius to treat them as an engineer. And I'm going to go to this spot because I would like this uranium. And I'll also take the neutronium on the other side because you can't have too much neutronium. And I know I'm not going to mine again, but it's kind of a shame because there's a second neutronium here. And I know these cubes may be difficult to see, which is why I'm leaving this card out here so you can hopefully tell a little bit better. And like I said, I know it's tough to see, but if it's any consolation, these metal cubes feel awesome, and I will only use them. But yeah, I suspect that's not consolation. So let's roll for Chronossus. And another 3. So the Chronossus would like to take a time travel action. So they would go back and remove a warp tile from a previous era, but we are on the first era, so they cannot do that. So instead, that's a failed action. And so Chronossus is just going to gain 1 victory point. I'll keep those hopefully over here, and we'll advance that track. Now, one thing to point out on the failed actions for Chronossus, there is a slight difference. If they fail the action because they cannot place an exosuit, so for example, if they wanted to build right now, both of these slots are taken, the World Council spots are taken, they wouldn't be able to physically place a suit anywhere. So if they fail and there is no space for the suit, then you give them 1 victory point, and you also discard one of their charged exosuits. So I didn't realize that when I played with it originally, and that made it more difficult. So definitely don't forget that rule because that's not how Chronobot plays. Anyway, back to me, and I've got one exosuit left, and I'm going to use it to take a scientist and do another breakthrough. So I would like another square, because then I'll be pretty close to being able to buy cloning vat. And I'd like to pick it up before the Chronobot gets it, or Chronossus. Sorry, I'll probably call it Chronobot a few times if I haven't already. But yeah, I want to gain a square, so I'm going to roll this, and it is the DNA strand. I forgot what the categories are supposed to be, but DNA. So there's another one of those for me. And now we're back to Chronossus. Can't see that from here. Another 3. Okay. So this modular one here just says to gain 2 victory points. So they do, they advance the token, and this token here, when that 3 comes up again, it's to build a super project, and they'll prioritize this one because it's worth the most victory points right now. You know, this one's worth 6, and this one's worth 3. Even though the effect of this one gives it another 3 to make it worth 6, the effects don't apply when Chronossus purchases them. They just add up the totals. So this would only be worth 3 to Chronossus, even though it's worth 6 to me. So anyway, they'd want to purchase this over that. And also, you can't purchase this because it's in a future era. But even come next era, they're going to prioritize purchasing this super project. And so I want to be able to grab it first. And so I've got everything I need to make that happen. And I can maintain that going into the next round. But Chronossus will be going first. So hopefully they don't start with a 3. And I think I'm going to take this scientist and again use them as a genius. So this is an engineer spot, but I can put a genius there, so I can put a scientist there. So I'm going to do that. It's going to cost me 3 water. I do notice now I am 1 water short of being able to pay the cost for cloning vat here, but I should be able to get that just by not powering up 1 exosuit next time, so I'm not worried. And now I gain 2 energy cores. There we go. And that's a pretty good conversion, because that cost me, what did I say, 3 water? 3 water, you know, plus an action. But if I were to use that same worker to go trade with the nomads, 3 water would only get me 1 energy core. So that's twice as efficient. That's pretty good. So, you know, maybe I'll take that action like every other round or something. But I've got 5 energy cores. That's a pretty good stockpile. So back to Chronossus, who's not passed yet. They've got 1 suit left and a 4. So the 4 is just on the like reboot. It's just skip an action. So we just advance this while doing nothing. So the 4 is on top of the 2. So it comes back to me, but I don't have anything I really want to do. So I'm going to pass for the round and let Chronossus keep going. A 3. Okay, so they want to build a super project, but they have nowhere that they can place an exosuit. So they discard this and gain 1 victory point. And we still advance that. So that's nice. So it definitely won't build the super project then. And now it gets to go again because I've already passed. Another 3. So Chronossus would like to spend some resources to remove an anomaly, but it doesn't have any anomalies or resources. So again, it's a failed action. So we're going to take these 4 away. It gets 1 more victory point, so that's a 5th. So there's a 5er, and we advance the token again and continue. Wow, another 3. So this is an action where it wants to build life support, but it does not have an exosuit to be able to complete the action. So now the Chronossus passes. We do not advance the token, and it's not considered a failed action. It's just passing. So that is the end of the first era's action phase. So I'll show you the cleanup phase and then the preparation phase of the next era. And then in all future eras, I'll just skip past this part so you don't have to keep watching it. But I'm going to retrieve all my exosuits and workers. So this scientist was over here at the mines, and because they can be treated as geniuses, when I retrieve them, I'm going to treat them like an engineer, and they will come back in the motivated column. I've got a scientist here who comes back tired, an administrator here who also comes back tired, scientist here is going to come back tired, and this scientist will come back motivated. And now we take back the exosuits for the Chronossus. I'll set those aside, and that's it for the cleanup phase. So it is not time for the impact. It's not the end of the game. So now we go to the preparation phase of Era 2. So I'll put my focus token here, and I'm just putting it on the tracks instead of below just to save some table space because it is a little crowded. Let's reveal the next super project. We have Outback Conditioner. And so that one allows you to place any worker there and spend 2 water, and you can take any of the 3 basic actions. And then the worker type restrictions and bonuses still apply. So if you take, say, a build action, you'd get the 1 titanium discount if you used an engineer, but you would not be able to use an administrator for that. And now I need to refresh the recruit pool and the mine. And I have to cycle the building stacks as well. Okay, so we're done with the preparation phase. We go to the paradox phase. And the rules say that the Chronossus, just like the Chronobot, always rolls for paradox last. I don't know why that would be the case. I don't know what difference it would make in a solo game, but we'll follow the rules. I'll roll first. So we each have 1 warp token here on this first tile, so we each need to roll once for it. So I'll roll first. 2, ouch. Luckily, I've got space for 4, but that does hurt. And now the Chronossus rolls second. 1. All right, so that's the paradox phase. And now we power up. Chronossus is in first place, or not first place, first in turn order. So I'm going to have them power up first. So we start with 3. So I've got 1, 2, 3 suits here. And now I draw 3 tokens from the bag. So I've got a spent energy core, or an exhausted energy core, I think is the term. Oh, a second one again, and 1 powered one. So just like last time. So I put 1 of the exhausted cores back in the bag. The other 2 are removed from the game, and they're going to power up 1 more exosuit for Chronossus. Now I need to power up, but you know what just occurred to me was I wanted to build this super project. I can't do that without a power plant. So that's going to slow me down a little, huh? I had better procure 1 of those. But let's power up. So I need at least 3 suits. I don't need 3, but I want the 3 free ones. And I think I'm going to spend 2 energy cores to put out 2 more suits. So I've got 1 blank spot. I gain 1 water. So as this moment, I do have enough to be able to afford this. But again, there's the matter of getting there. And so now it's time for the warp phase. And I'm going to warp in to water, because I don't want to play my water too tightly. I want to be able to have a little extra, and maybe I'll have some extra at the end. And, oh, what is that, 2? All right, 2 for the Chronossus. So that's nice for me. Okay, so let's get going in our action phase. Chronossus is first. Let's see how they mess me up. 3. So right away, we are building again. They're going to take this spot here, and they are going to build another life support. And this one is worth 2. This is 1, so they're going to take this one. That's their second life support building. They can only hold 3. After they have 3, it just becomes a failed action. So we're going to advance here. And you know what? I'm going to start by taking a free action. I'm going to decrease my morale to wake up all of my workers. So I get an administrator, an engineer, and 2 scientists. And that's a free action. And so now I can take another action. I'll use that engineer to go to the mines. I might as well do that because I've only got so many scientists and I want to be able to use them for other things. This is a good use for the engineer. And what is it that I need? I'm going to go here and grab a gold and a titanium, because I think I'm going to need that to be able to build a power plant at some point. So back to Chronossus. Let's roll 3. This thing only comes up on 3s, it feels like. So they want to do a time travel action. So they're going to go back and remove this warp tile and then advance the time travel track. And now we advance the command token. So now I'm going to build using a scientist as a genius. So I take this build spot. It costs me 1 water to go there. And I'm going to build a power plant. So it's going to cost me a neutronium, 1 titanium, because I'm using, again, the scientist as a genius, and 1 gold and 1 water. And these are both really good. This is worth 1 point. This is worth 2. This one you have to use a scientist, which doesn't matter to me. And they will be able to go back 2 eras. This one you use a scientist and pay a water. So it's going to cost more water over time. But you can time travel twice, and you can go back 3 eras each time. So it'll cost more water, but it's definitely more efficient workers-wise if I can make use of it enough. But I think I'll grab this one. So I place that right there. And now we go back to Chronossus. So we roll 4. So the 4 is on the mining action. So just like Chronobot, they prioritize the resources in this order. So neutronium, uranium, gold, and titanium. So they're going to go where they can get the highest priority ones that they do not have yet. And so that means this top mining spot is where they want to be and grab a uranium and a gold. And then advance, what was that, 4? Advance the 4 token on its unique track right there. And so now I'm going to have a scientist go here and take a time travel action. So I'll move my marker back up to 2 eras. So I go back to the first era, and I'm going to pay back this warp token by sending the scientist back from my awakened column. Now I gain my token back, and I can advance the time travel track to the first space. And that got my focus token where I could build that super project. So I'm still on track for that goal. Let's have Chronossus go. 5. So this is a recruit action. So they will send their exosuit to this spot, and they will prioritize in this order. So geniuses, then administrators, then engineers, and then scientists last. So they do gain a genius because there's one available. And the Chronossus never gains the benefit from recruiting. They just always get 1 victory point. So there's a token, and now we advance the 5 to this space here. And I would like to build the super project now, but I've only got 4 water, and I've got to pay to use a World Council action. So before I do that, I've got to have a genius, or a scientist genius. Oh, shoot, no, not one of them. I have to use an administrator to go here, and they'll get 3 water. I wanted to get 4 water, but 3 will do it. So now I've got 7 water. Whoops. And Chronossus will go next. 4. Come on, Chronossus. I really wanted to get this first player marker, so that's not going to happen now because Chronossus is going to go there to take a build action themselves. So they're going to build a lab. These are both worth 2, so they take from the secondary stack right there and advance the 4. Now it is my turn, and I mean, I guess this will save me a water, but still kind of stinks. I wanted to get the first player token, so I go here. I pay 1 water to go there. And I'm going to build using my scientist as a genius. And I am choosing to build this super project. So that costs 2 uranium, only 1 titanium because of the genius, and then 4 water, plus 2 square breakthroughs. So I've got what I need. Let's pay these costs. And now I gain this, and I'm going to put it here in the life support column. Pretty sure. No, you know what? I'll put it... Can I put it here in the factory space? I think I can. No, I think I have to put it as far left as possible. So it's going to go there. Yes, the example in the book looks almost exactly like my board. So yeah, this is where I will put it. And that was my turn. So Chronossus goes now. Oh, and they don't have any exosuits left. So they rolled a 3, but a 3 would not need any exosuits. All it is gain 2 victory points, 1, 2, and advance the token. Now it's back to me, and I have an administrator and a suit, which is not so bad. I'll use the administrator then to come back here and recruit, pay 1 water, and I'll recruit a scientist and gain 2 water. And Chronossus has another 4, so they want to either recruit or research a breakthrough, but they have no suits left. So Chronossus passes now for the rest of the era, and it goes back to me. And I am going to take this scientist and put them in the cloning vat and gain another scientist. And that is a good thing, but unfortunately with this placement here, this scientist will return tired as well, not awake. Any other column, they would have been awake, but I couldn't do this column because I do need 3 labs for my evacuation condition. So, I mean, I guess I could have, but that would have really hurt my ability to get points. So I don't have any more actions to take, so I will pass as well. So I will do the cleanup phase and then the preparation phase for the era coming up next for the 3rd era. And then I will see you again for rolling paradoxes. Here we go. Okay, so we are ready to do the paradox phase for the 3rd era. The new super project is Particle Collider. I don't particularly want it. It lets you take a free action to turn 2 of the basic resources into a neutronium or vice versa. It is worth a lot of points. I'm sure the Chronossus is going to build it if it can at some point, but I think I'm done with super projects myself. I will need to start building labs at some point, and then I'd like to try and get a bunch of breakthroughs and scientists. That's where I want to focus, I think. So time to roll for paradoxes, and I don't need to roll at all because only one era has warp tiles, and the Chronossus has more than I do. They've got 2, I've got 1, so they roll. Oh, and get a blank. Come on. Well, that happens sometimes. So now we do power up, and Chronossus is first. I've already given them their first 3 because we're pre-impact, and now I draw 3 more tokens from the bag here. This one's powered up. And another spent core, and another spent core. Okay, so 1 spent core goes back in the bag. We're losing those slowly but surely, but we're losing, I guess, powered ones too. So Chronossus gets a 4th powered up suit. And I will definitely do these 3. And I think I'll do just 1 more. So I'm going to spend a power core. And then I gain 2 water for my 2 empty spots. And now we warp. And you know what? Let's warp in another suit. That could be fun, right? And let's see how many Chronossus wants to warp. 1. Okay, oops. Not the Chronobot side, Chronossus. All right, and now we are ready for the action rounds. Once again, starting with Chronossus. I just can't seem to get that first player spot. And we have a 4. So Chronossus would like to recruit a genius. And there is a genius available, so they're going to do that. So they gain a genius, even though they've already got one. And they gain a victory point along with that as well. And then advance the 4 token along its track, and we get to go. And I'm going to start by taking a scientist, or I'm sorry, what are you? Yeah, scientist, using them as a genius and going to the mines. And I'm going to take this first spot and grab that uranium, but I'll also grab the neutronium. I don't specifically need the neutronium, but like it's hard to turn it down, you know? No, and I never cleared this this free action icon from the previous round. So now Chronossus is up again. 3. So they're going to build a super project. They're going to go take a build action. Oh no, they can't build a super project because they don't have a breakthrough to spend. So when Chronossus builds a super project, they have to just spend 1 breakthrough of any type. Doesn't even need to match anything. So it does still place the suit to block, and it gains a VP. So I need to make change for another 5 as a failed action, and then they advance. There we go. So next I'm going to take this engineer and have them go to the mines as well. And let's go here, grab a steel and a uranium. So I'll be needing the uranium to start building these labs at some point. So let's send it back to the Chronossus. 3. So they'd like to spend resources to remove an anomaly, but they don't have an anomaly yet. So that is a failed action, 1 victory point, and advance the token. And now I'm going to take a free action to decrease morale and wake everybody up again. So we get 2 administrators. And 1, 2, 3, 4 scientists. Okay. And I'm going to try and do a little bit of blocking action here too. I'm going to take an administrator and send them to the mines. So I grab a gold for that. And then I'll also grab a either uranium or titanium. I guess a titanium. Probably need that. Because Chronossus can go to the mines if they roll a 2, and so that would force them to lose an exosuit, which would be good. And I would also like to get 2 breakthroughs and still have a scientist go to this cloning vat. So I've got 2 exosuits for the 2 breakthroughs. If a 5 is rolled, the Chronossus will try and do a breakthrough as well, and I'd kind of prefer that so they fill up one of these spots, and then I can go to the World Council action to take another breakthrough. So we'll see if any of that turns out the way that I hope. How many scientists do I have here? 1 I want to clone, 2 I want to send. I've got 1 left. Oh, that'd be perfect. I can take, well, one of 2 things. Either a time travel action to go back and get rid of that warp token, but it's not really urgent because I don't have tide majority there. So the other thing I can do is go here and get a couple of energy cores. That might be the priority. We'll see. But I guess for now, Chronossus needs to roll 5. Okay, so it's the breakthrough. I would have liked the mines and then the breakthrough, but I'll take it. So they go here, and they don't really care what they get. I'm going to roll both of these just to randomize it. So the square with population on it. So now Chronossus has a breakthrough that can be spent to build a super project should that occur in the future. And now we advance the 5 to here. And so that puts me in a position with water where I think I could do the time travel action, but I won't be able to get these energy cores. So that's fine. Let's put a scientist in a suit, and we will do a breakthrough as well, and that's going to cost 1 water to go there. And I don't really have a preference either. I'm going to roll them both. A square of anything. All right, a square with a reticule on it. All right, so now I've got a breakthrough. I'm going to want to get a bunch of those for the evacuation and also the endgame conditions. Okay, back to Chronossus. We roll. I can't see what that is. It's a 4. So building a factory. That's fine with me. I didn't really plan on building. So they use their last exosuit there. And this one is worth 3. The other one's worth 2. So they take the higher value building, advance to here. And now it's me to take a scientist and go here, which will cost 2 water, but I get to replace the flag. That's nice. And I'm taking a research action. So all I know is I don't want another square because I'd rather make sets if I could for scoring. So we'll get a triangle of some kind. Same symbol, but on a triangle this time, sure. Okay, another breakthrough for me. And Chronossus, oh, what did I do here? I bumped something. Chronossus is next. 3. And that is a build action, but they don't have an exosuit, so they're going to pass. So for my part, I am going to send a scientist here, so I can move up to 2 eras back. I'll move back 1, pay 2 water, so I reclaim this warp token and advance the time travel track. And now I'll have this scientist just hop into this cloning vat here, and I'll get another scientist. There we go. So looking at these evacuation conditions, again, I get points for each breakthrough and pair of scientists. And it looks like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 scientists and 2 breakthroughs. So I need a 3rd breakthrough to pair up with the scientists that I have. And then, of course, I still need to build 3 labs. So that's going to be important too. So maybe next era, I will try and get 1 breakthrough and a couple of labs. But that is it for actions for the 3rd era. So I will take care of cleanup and 4th era preparation, and then I'll see you in a second. Here we go. Okay, so I'm ready to start the 4th era, and we're going to start with the paradox phase, and I need to roll first. So I am tied on this 3rd era, so I roll 1 time. As long as I don't roll a double, I'm okay. Whoops. Well, that's a single. Should have kept it in the tray, but I'll take it. There we go. So that's 3 paradox tokens, but I need 4 to get an anomaly. So Chronossus rolls next, and they need to roll twice for these 2 eras, and they only need 2 more tokens for an anomaly. And there's a double, so it just stops right there. They gain an anomaly, and these are all the standard anomalies. And now they remove 1 from the timeline, and it removes the warp tile from an era where it has the most warp tiles. So that's going to be this one here. So it doesn't really do anything for them, which is even better for me. Let's clear this. And since they got the anomaly, they don't roll a second time for this era here. So now we do the power-up phase, and I'm the first player, so I'll power up first. And I definitely want at least 3. Oh, and I didn't mention the new super project. It's Neutronium Research Center, and I kind of really want it. So it's worth 8 points. And when you build it, you immediately take the research action twice. So you get 2 breakthroughs. That's pretty nice. Although you do have to spend at least 1 breakthrough just to purchase it. So it's really like paying, even if you had a titanium discount, like 2 neutronium, 2 titanium, and a scientist just to get net 1 breakthrough. I guess that's not as great as I thought. So maybe I won't try and go after that. I just, I want the breakthroughs that caught my attention. So anyway, I'm getting low on energy cores. I'm going to need them after the impact. And I'm also pretty low on water, meaning I have no water. And it's going to cost me 3 water to take this action to get a couple more energy cores. So maybe I'll just take 1 more. And so I gain 2 water. And now Chronossus needs to power up. So we're going to draw 3 from the bag. Again, they've got 3 exosuits already, and we've got 2 spent ones. Can't believe that keeps happening. And 1 powered energy core. So Powered one and a spent one are gone. One goes back in the bag. So there's only, just 2 energy cores left, a spent one and a charged one. Interesting. So these go away, and a 4th suit is in play. It's funny how consistent that's been over these first 4 eras. That's not usually what I see. And we're going into the warp phase. I think I'm going to do this one again for 2 more water. And let's roll for Chronossus. 1. Okay. And now we can go to the action phase, and I am first this time. So let's try and save myself a little water. I'm going to take a build action using a scientist as a genius, going here, and I'm going to build a lab, which is going to cost 1 uranium, only 1 titanium, and 1 water. And this one's worth a little more, and it's definitely good. I want both of these. But even though this one's worth more and therefore just slightly more at risk of Chronossus getting it before I can, I think this one's more valuable to me right now. So I'm going to build it here. It allows me to place a scientist and then remove a warp token. So that's not a time travel action, but I wouldn't mind getting this one back that got me the exosuit without having to spend an exosuit. But that was my action. Chronossus can take a turn now. 4. So that's the reboot action, so they're not going to do anything. I like that. Do that more, Chronossus, I say. And so I do plan to build another lab, but I want to wait because Chronossus has a few different ways they could build. I want them to take that spot so I can maintain this. It'll cost me 1 more water, but I think it's the right thing to do. And so I'm surprising myself a little here, but I'm going to use an administrator to take a recruit action and gain a scientist and 2 water. I could gain a genius and get the 2 water too, but the scientists are valuable to me. They're the same as a genius, and the Chronossus already has 2 geniuses, but they're going to need a scientist at some point to try and gain those 5 victory points. So I'd like to just keep starving them of those scientists. And I was kind of thinking about sending a scientist here, but this, I only got half as much water this way, but I got another scientist, and that's probably a good thing. So we'll have Chronossus go now. 4 again, so Chronossus is going to the mines. That's not my favorite thing, because they're going to go down to this spot to get 1 titanium and 1 neutronium, and now they have 1 of everything, so those all go away, and they get 5 victory points. You can't block everything, so that's fine, and we'll just advance the 4 token to here. And so I think I'll take a breakthrough now, so I'll send a scientist to the research area, and I would like a circle just to complete the set that I have. And I get the time token. So circle time. So I've got a complete set, which is pretty nice. And Chronossus gets to go now. 4 again. I kind of wanted that. So Chronossus is going to build. Oh, but I didn't look at what they're building. So they go here and they're going to build a lab, and I really hope they don't take the one I want. They totally are. They're taking the one I want. This one's worth more. So this one would have allowed me to use a scientist to remove a paradox. So that sucks. I really could have used that. There was no way to know, but if I had bought that first, this one would still be available right now, and I could have gotten them both. Oh, that's too bad. Well, it was a calculated risk, and I just calculated wrong, I guess. Well, let's take a free action and smack down that morale again. And wake everybody up. Let's get all these scientists and this administrator. And let's take our engineer here and send them to the main World Council space. That'll cost 2 water. So I maintain first player, and I'm going to take a build action, and I will build a lab, which is going to cost a uranium, 1 titanium, and 2 water. No, you know what? I take that back. I'm going to spend everything I spent, but I'm also going to spend a gold, and I'm going to build a life support. And I'm going to take this one, worth 2 points, put it here. And Chronossus is going to go now. But anyway, I'll let this stack will flip over going to the next era, and then hopefully I can build 2 labs next time instead of this time. But that'll get me some water, which is going to help out quite a bit. So let's have Chronossus go. And that's a 5. So they're going to build a power plant. And they can still build. So they're going to go here. Ooh, this one's worth 4 points. Yikes. A lot of points. That moves up to there. Now it's my turn. And this spot needs an administrator, and I will use an administrator. Because if I put a scientist there, this one this life support row, scientist doesn't come back motivated. So I'll just use the administrator. So I get 5 water for that. So that's pretty handy. And Chronossus is up next. 3. So they would like to build, but there are no empty build spots. So it's a failed action. They gain 1 victory point and also lose the suit and then advance because it's a failed action. So for my action, I'm going to take a scientist and go here to this lab, and I can remove any warp tile from the timeline. So I'm going to remove this one. It's 2 water that I just used because I'll probably use it again and get 2 more water. But that does not count as a time travel action, so I don't get any victory points for that. Chronossus is up next. 4. So they would like to recruit or research, but they don't have any exosuits. So they're just going to pass instead. They're done for the round. And so I'll take a couple more actions here. I will go to the cloning vat with a scientist. Might as well. And then I will also send a scientist here as a genius, spending 3 water to gain 2 energy cores. I'm going to need those cores. I need the water too, but then really the only other thing I could do is take a time travel action, but I don't really have a reason to do that. So that is going to be it for the 4th era, and we're going into impact. So I'll do the regular cleanup, and then when I do preparation phase for the 5th era, I'll flip over this World Council tile up there. I'll put the crumbling tiles here for as these basic actions collapse. I'll block off a couple of my exosuit spaces, and the top spot of the mine will always be neutronium going forward no matter what it says on the mine card. So I will get all of that taken care of, and I'll see you back here in just a second. Okay, so we're in the 5th era now, and we're set up after the impact. So some of these collapsing capital tiles are pretty interesting. This one will give me points depending on what space I'm constructing on. So if I can manage to build a second lab here, I'll get 2 victory points for it. These make me want to recruit because my morale is super, super low. If my morale goes down again, I'll have to destroy a worker, which I don't really want to do, although I've got plenty. But this one lets your morale track go up once, and this one wakes up all of your tired workers. So those are both great. And then this is also great. Lets you remove 2 paradox tokens, so I could really use that. This one just lets you build a super project after you've taken a research action. So I don't really care about that one. And then looking at the new labs, this one gives you another slot for paradox tokens. So that could really help me out too. So I think I definitely want to build that one, but I don't have any resources right now either. So that'll make the whole building stuff tough. But we're going to start with paradoxes, and I roll first. Oof. Yeah, this is going to be bad. I'm now realizing because I got to roll 1 time, and unless I get the blank, this will be my 4th one, so I'm going to almost certainly have an anomaly. 1. Okay. Well, that makes this less appealing, makes that less cool too, but I am getting an anomaly now. So I'll put that here. I don't see much reason for me to try and get another power plant at this point in the game. And so now Chronossus needs to roll 1, 2, 3 times, and they have no paradoxes yet. So there's 1 and a blank and 1. Oh, that's too bad. So Chronossus beats the odds. Okay. And now we power up, and I'm first player, so I'll definitely take the free one. And I think I'll have to use that to mine before I can build another lab. But I will need to build a lab, so I'll need to spend at least 1 energy core for another suit. And then maybe I'll power up another suit just to take one of these 2 actions. It doesn't even really matter who I recruit. So that's 2 more suits. And that leaves me with 1 empty space, so I get 1 water. And then Chronossus has 2 suits to begin with after impact. We still draw 3 tokens from the bag, but at max, Chronossus can have 4 suits. And we already know what's in here, and the booklet states that if you have fewer than 3 tokens, draw as many as you can. So there's only 2 tokens. So we've got a spent core and a charged core. So the charged one will let them power up another suit. And then 1 spent core goes back in the bag, so that's all that's left in here. and this gets eliminated as usual. So I thought I was doing bad on power cores. Take that, Chronossus, and now we're going to warp. And I think I'm going to warp in 1 uranium. Just trying to hedge my bets a little bit. And Chronossus will warp 0. What a jerk. What a jerk this guy is being. Okay, well, now we go to the action phase and I start. And I'm going to send a scientist as a genius to the mines, and I'll go to this top spot and take a uranium and titanium. And so Chronossus is next. 5, an energy core. So they get a new energy core and put it in the bag. All right, and now advance that token. That was fine. So now I'll use another scientist, again acting as a genius, to build. And we will go here. So it's going to save me 1 titanium, and I'm going to get victory points for wherever I build. So I'm going to build a lab. So that's going to cost me 1 uranium, just 1 titanium, and 2 water. Let's spend that. And I'll take this one here. Even though I don't really need the effect, it'll at least reveal what's under it, and maybe I'll be more excited about that one. It kind of offsets that one, but it's you just take a free action, and you gain 2 victory points and a paradox token. A little odd. So I don't know if that's what I'll be buying. But according to this tile, I also get 2 victory points for building in the second zone. So those are my first victory point tokens of the game. And Chronossus is up next. Oh, 5 again. So Chronossus is going to recruit, and that's okay. Either of these kind of worked out to the same thing for me. So I'll take that first spot, and they've already got a genius. There is no administrator, so they're going to take the engineer next. Just going down the priority order. Whoopsie. And they get 1 victory point token. Pick my mech back up. Knocked over all my tired scientists. Now they're real tired. And advance this token here. And so now I will use scientist as a genius to go here to recruit. And so I get to raise the morale track once. And I'm going to recruit another scientist. And that gives me 2 water. And now we go to Chronossus. 2. So a mining action. And so the best that they can go is here. Grab a gold and a neutronium. I'm not too affected by that. The 2 moves up to here. And what am I going to do? I've got the water for it. I'll send a scientist here. Spend 4 water, so that's all my water. Now I wake everyone up and move the morale track to the right. So I've gained 4 points on that morale track over the last 2 turns, so that's a good thing. Wake everybody up. Try not to drop them. Okay, great. Now it is back to Chronossus, who has 1 exosuit left. 3. So they're going to take a time travel action. So Chronossus removes a warp token from the past era where they have the most tokens, leftmost if tied. So that's going to be this one. And that's a successful time travel. So that goes up. Move this. And back to me. And I guess I'll send an administrator here to get 5 water. And Chronossus goes again. 4. So they would like to recruit a genius. Ooh, and they can do that. So they are going to go here and take my flag. Rude. And recruit a genius, even though they've got one. Gain 1 victory point token. And advance, what number is that? 4. Here. So I will send my scientist here as a genius, spent 3 water, and gained 2 energy cores. Okay, back to Chronossus again. They have no more exosuits. And what is that? A 4. So they would like to build a factory, but they have no suits. So they're going to pass for the rest of the round. And we don't advance the token. So now I'll send an administrator here. I'm going to spend 1 neutronium and 2 water and get rid of this anomaly. Oh. And this is removed immediately. And the administrator is lost to time. So now I think I'll use this scientist to remove a warp tile. And let's just do this one. Maybe I can get another exosuit this round. And there's really no reason not to use the cloning vat again. There's still scientist tokens in the box, so let's keep going. But yeah, that looks like that's it. That's all I'm going to do this round. So now I will do cleanup and preparation again, and when I do the cleanup phase this time, this tile and this tile and this tile will all collapse. So the capital is falling apart, but I will see you at the beginning of Era 6. Okay, so I'm set up for the next era, and there's almost no way that I will be able to do all the things that I want to do with the number of suit spots that I have available, but just maybe, we'll see. So we need to start by rolling for paradoxes, and I have one roll to make. 1, I can live with that, and I'll put it right down here so I don't forget about that spot. And now Chronossus needs to roll twice. And we only need a 1. And there it is. Okay. So we remove the furthest back warp tile and these tokens, and they gain another anomaly. And now we're going to power up, and Chronossus is first player again. So they're starting with 2 because we're post-impact, and we know exactly what's in this bag. We're supposed to draw 3, or as many as possible, and there are only 2. And we've got a spent core and a powered core. So the powered one will power a suit now. The 1 spent core goes back in the bag. So that is 3 powered exosuits for Chronossus. And now I need to power up. I need at least the 1, and I think I'm going to do 2 more. Pretty sure about that. Yeah, we'll spend those. So I gain 1 water. And now we go to the warp phase. And I'm going to do 2. I want a gold and an exosuit. So put those here. Probably won't be paying these back, but there we go. Gold and an exosuit. And Chronossus is going to have none again. Still being a jerk. So Chronossus goes first. We're ready for actions. 5. A breakthrough tile. Okay. That's rude. And so we roll the shape die is all we have to roll. I'll roll them both because I don't really care what icon. So a triangle with DNA. There we go. So they're 1 circle away from having a complete set. And advance the 5 to here. And I'll start by having an engineer go to the mines. And where do I need to go? There's no way for me to do any sort of blocking action. So I take the uranium and a titanium. And we're back to Chronossus. 3. So that's just 2 victory points. So we'll take 3 away and replace them with a 5. And advance. And I'm going to take a free action to wake everyone up again and decrease morale. Always nice. It's just a huge stack of scientists. And then I will take an administrator, send them here, and gain 5 water. And back to Chronossus. This is going to be close. What is that? A 4. Okay, so they're building. That's not my favorite. And they're going there, and they're going to build a power plant. And they're both worth 3 points, so they take this one from the secondary stack. And then, oh, I'm sorry, not a power plant. I said 4. A factory. So this one's worth 3, and this one's worth 1. So it's going to be this one. That's their 3rd factory. Advance to here. And now I'm up, and I am sending a scientist to the world capital to build. So 1 water to take that spot. I'm thinking the game is ending this round, so I don't really care about being first player. I'm not spending the extra water. And so I'm going to build my next lab. So that's 2 uranium, just 1 titanium because I'm using my scientist as a genius, 1 gold, and 2 water. And I'll take this one here. There we go. Back to Chronossus. 4 again, and that is just a reboot. So then we move down here, no action to take. So now I'll send a scientist to do a research action here, and then I could technically build a super project, but I'm not going to do that. So I've already got 1 of each shape. I don't really care at all what this next one is. Let's just leave it up to chance. Square with population. I think I've already had that one this game, but let's grab it again. Maybe it's Chronossus that has that one. Okay, so another breakthrough. Now it is back to Chronossus. Let's roll again. Oh, and this will definitely be the last round because now all the capital spaces have collapsed. What is that? 3. Build a super project. Oh, they're going to get a bunch of points right at the end. That's no fun. So they're going to spend any one of these to gain whichever one of these is worth the most. And that's going to be this one for 8 points. Ooh, that hurts a little bit. Advance that. So I'm taking the evacuation action now. Send a scientist here. Oh, and before I do that, let's take this free action. I gain 2 victory points and a paradox. There's the paradox, 2 victory points. I want those. Okay, so now I'm taking the evacuate action. So I must have at least 3 labs, and I do have 3 labs. So I gain 6 victory points for that. I have 4 here, so let's just call that 10, because that's what 6 and 4 is. And then for every 1 breakthrough and 2 scientists, I gain 4 victory points. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 breakthroughs. Let's make sure I've got 8 scientists, and I'm certain I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've actually got 10. I wish I could have gotten 1 more breakthrough, but they beat me to it. Yeah, so I've got 4 full sets. So 4 times 4 is 16. So there's 5, 10, 15, 16. So that makes up a little bit for that 8 that Chronossus just got. That's not good. So that was the evacuate action. Now we're going back to Chronossus. Oh, and let's pick up all these scientists, who are probably all the same scientists because I've put them in the cloning vat so many times. There we go. There we are. All right, Chronossus. 3. Remove an anomaly. So they're going to pay 1 neutronium because that's all they can do to remove this anomaly. Advance the token. And I've got no way to get any more suits or resources of any kind to be able to pay back any of these warp tiles through either time travel action or at the end of the game of untangling the continuum. So I'm just going to send a scientist here to get rid of at least one of them. Let's get rid of the uranium. So that way, at least that tile is clear. I can't remember if that matters or not, but seems sound to me. Back to Chronossus. 2. So that's another reboot action, and then the 2 token follows a red line over to here. And the remaining actions that I can take are to wake everybody up again, which costs 4 water, and I've only got 3, and I have no one to wake up, so there's no point. I could put a scientist in the cloning vat and get another scientist, but I don't know what the purpose of that would be either. I could spend the 3 water here for 2 energy cores. I don't know what that would do. And I could do a time travel action, but again, I don't know why I'd be going back or what I'd be doing. So I guess that's it. I'm going to pass and let Chronossus finish up. So we roll again. A 3. So they're going to take a build action. They're going to take this last space here and build the life support with the most points, which is this one for 2. Advance, and then keep going. 4. And that is a mining action, and they have no exosuit, so they're going to pass as well. So now we do clean up one more time. Let me take back my suits. So this worker's tired. This one is an engineer at a mine, so they're awake. This flips over, right? This comes back. They're tired. And they're tired. I think that matters for some goals. I don't think it matters for anything that I've got out on the table right now. So as we said, all these tiles are collapsed. So we are at the end of the game. It's time to do a couple things. Okay, so let's move into scoring. The Chronossus does not lose any points for the warp tile left. These 2 I cannot pay back, so each one of those is going to lose me 2 points. And let's go ahead and add up my points first. Oh, and I didn't put that one back awake. This one goes back tired. Okay. So yeah, my points first. So I'm starting off here at -4. And then my victory point tokens here, I've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26. -4 brings me down to 22. And then each of my breakthroughs is worth 1, so 23, 24, 25, 26. And then I've got a set, that's another 2, so I'm up to 28. Let's do buildings, anomalies, and super projects. I have no anomalies, so it's just buildings and super projects. So this one's 2, that gets me to 30, 31, 37. 39, 40, 43, 45. And then this gets me up to 47 minus 4 is 43. And then we've also got these conditions up here. This only made it to spot 2, so that scores no points. How much water do I have? 3 water. I didn't score anything for that. And then this one, I've got 4 breakthroughs, so that's the first threshold. So it only gives me 1 point for all 3 of those in total. So I think I was at 43. That brings me to 44. So now let's add up for Chronossus. Well, for victory points, they've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 21. And then breakthroughs work the same way. They've only got 1, so that brings them to 22. They've got an anomaly, so they lose 3 for that. So it's 19. And then we'll add up the rest of these. This is 3 and 2, so that's 24. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 45 plus 8 is 53, plus another 4 right there is 57. So 57 to 44. So I definitely lost to Chronossus, but I did not get stomped as bad as I did against Chronobot. And the benefit is I got to play the way that I wanted to play, which was fun. I will say it was difficult going back from Fractures of Time back to this without the blinking. I got really used to blinking. But I'll show you some of that magic in a future video. So just as a reminder, I do intend to make a bunch of rules videos for every module in Anachrony. I promise I will get to it. I've just got so much going on, but that is a priority of mine. It'll probably be the first half of 2025 as I work through all those, maybe 1 a week. And I'll also do more solo playthrough videos to show some of those modules in action, because the Chronossus can interact with all the different expansion modules, so that's really cool. And there are a lot. There are a lot of expansions for this game. So if that is something that sounds cool to you, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you know when those videos come out. And if you want to let me know that that's something you want to see, go ahead and leave a like on this video, or better yet, leave a comment. And let's talk a little bit, because I really do enjoy saying hi to everybody who watches this channel. It's really cool. So this has been Anachrony with Chronossus. I will be back with more Anachrony and other solo games as well, both big and small. So I hope you had a great time. I had an awesome time. Always do, playing Anachrony. So I appreciate you spending the time with me. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time on Table for One. Have an awesome week.